Let's do some literary detective work together. I recently received this question from a book club reader. It goes like this. Is it possible, from the brief clues given, to identify the English novel Anna is reading on the train returning to Petersburg? I can't get this question out of my mind because I love seeking out the books that characters read in novels. It's a hack to becoming more well-read. So in the book club, when we noticed Levin is reading Plato's Symposium, we went ahead and read Plato's Symposium together. When we saw that he was reading Reflexes of the Brain, that was really instrumental, and we tied it into the themes of fate and free will and electrical impulse and behavioural psychology and all that cool stuff. So if you see what a character is doing in a novel, if they're listening to an opera, Mozart, Don Giovanni, Die Fledermaus, if they're looking at a painting like some of the Renaissance stuff that Anna and Vronsky see in Italy, if they're reading books, go hunt it out. That's one of the easiest ways to live the great books. But that's a question that has preoccupied me for a while because Anna is a great reader of novels. One might say that in a similar vein to Don Quixote, she's probably read too many novels. Vronsky likes French novels, though he doesn't really properly read them. Anna very much is preoccupied with English novels. And if you know anything about the history of the novel, the Russians, who are masters of the novel form, they follow the tradition from French and follow the tradition from English. Who's good at writing English novels? I think Jane Austen. So for a long time I was trying to picture what possible paperback or hardback bound volume, what possible volume could Anna have on that train. It's a very early scene and it goes full circle. Anybody who's read Anna Karenina, no spoils. She's reading a book, she's in a carriage, there's a blizzard and she has an English novel in her hands. Tolstoy, who's typically so quick to furnish us with the details of the literature his characters are reading, even if it's a little bit masked, like Anna's husband, Alexei, coming in with Duc de Lille under his arm, that's obviously Baudelaire, but we don't know who this English novel is written by. Now, one of the icons of English novels is of course Jane Austen. We recently read Persuasion on the book club. I'm not sure she's reading Persuasion. If she's reading any Austenite drama, it might be Northanger Abbey, which has a lot of almost postmodern commentary on the nature of heroines and protagonists, the nature of adventures. It's very much kind of looking at turning a sort of parody, satirical eye on novels like Anne Radcliffe's The Mysteries of Ardolpho, which I also am not sure that is the novel Anna is reading. Anne Radcliffe, of course, was a huge bestseller at the time. It was very, very popular, but so was Samuel Richardson, who wrote this two huge long epistolary novels, Clarissa and also Pamela, about fallen women. Very, very long. Had to be published and broken up in many volumes. Is it possible that Anna was reading this in translation, reading the latest instalment, and that also fed into, ushered in some of the mental issues that she was dealing with? I'm not sure that it would be Richardson. Both authors, no doubt, at the time they were writing, I'm thinking around 1740, 1750, no doubt captured the reading public, but who was writing closer to Anna's time and who might have been recently translated? Would it be Dickens? I believe that Tolstoy, in his tract What is Art, he scorned basically everyone apart from Dostoevsky, Dickens and Hugo, so potentially. But another fellow that Tolstoy liked is Anthony Trollope, the writer of the Barchester novels, the series of clerical novels, and I think we might have a winner here. Tolstoy, who had basically all of Trollope's books in his personal library and who even wrote in a letter, Trollope kills me. He loved Trollope. He was a big fan of Trollope. He particularly, I think, spoke out about the Prime Minister. Now, the Barchester series, the first in the series is called The Warden, which you can see here behind me in lovely sort of early edition Everyman paperback. Yeah, Everymans have gone through quite a history. They now look like this if you take the covers off, but they used to look like that, The Warden, in a nice red. It was a long series, and Trollope was quite famous for his writing method. He would place a watch, a timepiece, on the table, the writing desk in front of him, and he would try and write 250 words by hand for every quarter of an hour, and he would be really methodical. He'd watch the clock, and he needed to clock his 250 words. So he'd write to a quota, he'd get up early in the morning before going to his job, his day job, as a postman. He was responsible for the red pillar boxes that you'll see still today throughout England. And when he finished the novel, if he still had time on the clock, he would just write the end, turn it over, and he would start the next one, which resulted in him being very prolific. And I know that Tolstoy liked Trollope, and Trollope is also an iconic English writer, up there with Austen, up there with Dickens. Is it possible that maybe Anna was reading one of the Barchester series? As Tolstoy very much identified personally with Anna in the same way that Flaubert, in a very similar narrative, identified with Madame Bovary, say in C'est Moi, it's very possible that Anna would have been reading the books that Tolstoy would have been reading, because Anna essentially is Tolstoy. Now, were the other characters also imbuments of Tolstoy, like Vronsky, maybe even some of the female protagonists? Yeah, of course, we can get into that. But Anna was very much a large part of Tolstoy. If you know anything about his biography, it might not come as a shock to you. So I don't think she was reading Jane Austen, though very much she could have been. Jane Austen was very much a template for English novels or novels generally. So when Tolstoy decided to write his first novel, and Anna Karenina was his self-admittedly first novel, War and Peace was not. It was a great big sprawling epic thing, very much like Proust. Maybe not a novel. Anna Karenina was more Bildungsroman, more tightly knit, had more unity. He didn't like Dickens consistently, so I don't think it was Dickens. Don't think it was Austen, though he would have learnt from Austen and he would have swerved from her influence. I'm not sure if it was the pastoral novels of George Eliot. I'm not sure it was Middlemarch. And though he does mention a few volumes of Thackeray here and there in his non-fiction writings, I don't think it was Thackeray either. So I think Anna was perhaps clasping some Trollope. And here's an intriguing weigh-in from Tolstoy biographer A.N. Wilson, who believed Anna to be reading one of the novels from Anthony Trollope's Palliser series, with the bets placed on the Prime Minister of 1876. Here's a quote from Anna Karenina, which makes this a compelling guess. She herself too much wanted to live. When she read how the heroine of the novel looked after a sick man, she herself wanted to move about the sick room with noiseless footsteps. When she read how a member of Parliament had made a speech, she wanted to have made the speech herself. When she read how Lady Mary rode to hounds or teased her sister-in-law, or amazed everyone by her bravery, she wanted to do it herself. But there was nothing to do, and while her little hands played with the smooth paper knife, she continued to read. So my number one guess is a Trollope. That is what's in Anna's hands as she's on that train through the blizzard. My second runner-up guess is probably something by Austen, but let me know what you think. What do you think Anna Karenina is reading on the train? And if you'd like to read Anna Karenina as part of a book club group, then join up at patreon.com/hardcore literature. At time of recording, we've got over 100 exclusive posts and a ton of long-form content. Tolstoy, Dostoevsky. We're about to broach Siddhartha by Hermann Hesse, Don Quixote. We just did Jane Austen. We've done loads of short story masterclasses, tons of poetry deep dives, and it's a really great group. So, thank you very much for watching. If you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe, and happy reading.